Hello everyone, very welcome to Exambi. My name is Prakash Joshi, and in this series of RBI annual report, I am discussing the important, very important thing from the RBI annual report. There are two important things in the report. One is it tells about the working of RBI, and secondly, it gives you an overall perspective of the global economy and also Indian economy. Today in this video, I will give you a very brief overview and how in the coming videos some key points of the reports will be covered. And just to tell you, more than the data, the report is full of data, but by the time you go for the exam, the data will become old. So more than the data, try to understand the trend, the story, the priorities of the RBI being a central bank of the country, and how these are coordinated with the fiscal policy of the government. First, have a look at the front page, which has this Konark Sun Temple wheel in the background here, and then images of the rocket launch highlighting India's outstanding achievement in the space sector. And you must know that this is the head office building of the RBI. This digital twin is showing the importance of the digital economy. Nowadays, if you don't talk about AI and ML, it means you don't see the future. The focus of the government on infrastructure development and this UPI in the background. We have crossed 13 billion transactions in UPI, a worldwide achievement. And not to forget, Desh ka culture, agriculture. So we will be discussing some interesting fact from the annual report, starting with this 2.11 lakh crore historical transfer of surplus by RBI to the government of India that I'll be covering in the next video. And then there are very interesting topic about gold valuation, RBI's payment of 1 crore, money in the current account, and so forth as it unfolds. So today, if I tell you the overview of the annual report, the part 1 of the annual report is about the economy. Of course, it will start first with the global economy and then about the Indian economy and what is future prospect for year 24-25. And the second part, because global economy, Indian economy, you will read here and there also. The second part, which is very interesting, is the working and operations of the Reserve Bank of India. When you join there in RBI, you will read this part very enthusiastically because you will get to know about RBI in detail. You will be working in one department initially. After some time, you will have an exposure of maybe 2-3 departments. But here, in this report, you will get to know all the departments of RBI. At the end, there is an economic review. Now coming to the part 1, GDP growth in 2022 declined to 3.2% from 3.5% earlier. Now the data is old, but it tells you the trend, and that's how the IMF said that India is a shining star because of the GDP growth. And it comes to inflation. Inflation also eased out. This is a good situation, eased out to 6.8% from 8.7%. So at a global level, this is a good situation because 8.7 seems slightly high, but it will vary country to country. You can't have one number of inflation you can say that will be applicable for all the economies in general because it was going very high direction. So this is a good trend. The sad part is contraction of the global trade by 1.2% while there was a increase of 3% earlier. And when we are talking about trade here, overview of global economy, so this is about the global trade between the countries. If you see Indian economy, GDP growth, these are NSO data again here when the report was published, 7.6%. And then there were some latest data also. I am not commenting on that, but in RBI report it is mentioned. In the exam, there is almost zero possibility of asking this data. By the time you appear in the exam, you will have a recent updated data, but you shall know that there is this kind of work done by RBI in the annual report. When it comes to the investment demand, as I said, that's why I'm not going very detailed in the data. Understand the topic, the story. So investment demand, because of the investment, demand is created. And I said you in the cover page that government focus on the infrastructure. So infrastructure is one important component which has created the investment demand because government has been investing continuously there. 10.2% is its contribution, but understand what is happening here. And when it comes to the inflation, compared to last year, the inflation dropped down to 4.5% in last year, which was 6.7% earlier. Again, The latest monetary policy has now further updated the number. These are the important things. Fiscal consolidation. So when it comes to the fiscal deficit becomes important. So on that side also there is a good progress. The pain of the COVID is now over. In fact, current account deficit CAD is also declining. In the financial sector, there has been good development. Credit growth has been observed. Performance of the banking sector is also resilient. You must have seen profitability of including public sector banks and reduction in the NPAs, better provisioning by all the banks. And for details on all these topics, not only for phase 1 but for phase 2, you are welcomed in our course for RBI Grade B. Even if you are aspiring for 2025, then also you must join, because 1 year is nothing. In this year, you still have time, provided you have done some preparation or you have some good background. RBI Grade B is a very, very prestigious job, and of course, there will be competition. Here, you are interacting with people, those who have cleared RBI Grade B exam and also have worked in RBI. With the help of these practice questions, video lessons, and then full-length mock test, including the descriptive test, chapter test, live classes with the faculty members, you have the best opportunity to become a grade B officer in RBI. Now, coming to the projection side and inflation outlook and global trade expected in year 24-25. RBI expects 7% GDP growth and a CPI inflation of 4.5%. CPI is not Communist Party of India. It is, you write in the comment what does CPI mean. Once you start writing, I am telling you, you will remember. Even if you Google and write what does CPI mean here, you will remember in the exam hall. Otherwise, there will be a confusion whether it is WPI based or CPI based. Then trade is expected to grow at the rate of 3%, and we just discussed that last year is actually declined. Then in year 2025, RBI is expecting trade to grow 3.3%, and in all these global matters, normally calendar years are taken because globally accounting is also done in the calendar year. When I summarize the working of the Reserve Bank of India, that is the second part of the report, conduct of monetary policy is the most important function, in which one side you have repo transactions, and repo transactions are done for providing liquidity support to the bank. Repo rate is constant. In fact, in the recent monetary policy announcement also, it is kept 6.5%. RBI is not changing repo for long because RBI's worry about inflation has been managed now. Inflation has come to a reasonable number. Liquidity adjustment is done by doing mostly repo and reverse repo transactions. So market is sufficiently liquid. When it comes to financial inclusion, the situation is much more better today. As per the March 2023 that comes in the report, 60.1% is the achievement in the financial inclusion index. Here in the exam there will be a question, what is financial inclusion index? UPI achieving bigger and bigger milestone. I mentioned just that 13 billion transactions in the month of March, I think. And RBI is coming out with a lot of innovative payment solution. RBI is not only taking the help of NPCI, but RBI Innovation Hub also coming out with new experiments. There had been talk about fingerprint-based system payment, NFC payment. Fintech has taken banking to a very, very different level. In terms of governance and assurance, that is related to the RBI's guidelines into the RBI managed institutions. RBI provide regular, constant handholding and guidelines to the RBI regulated entities, bank, NBFCs, fintech companies. Then comes the chapter of economic review, where there is a discussion about aggregate demand, how consumption is created, and what is the role of investment and saving. You must have read this formula. Aggregate demand is equal to C plus I plus Z plus export minus import, X minus M. So this C is consumption here, and I is investment, G is government spending, plus export minus import, that is the net demand created by the export. Aggregate saving is saving by manufacturing sector, agriculture sector, where there are decent development in last few years. manufacturing sector has been growing well because of the low cost of the inputs and because of the good monsoon. Agriculture sector has also shown decent growth. The rural demand is very constant, fueling the growth in the economy. When it comes to the financial sector, money markets are also doing well. Sovereign bond yields have been softening, which is good for the economy, and equity market buoyant. Initially after the announcement of the elections, 2024 elections, there was slight dip, but now market has taken to a new height. Overall, during the last few years, there has been very strong growth in the equity markets. Overall, financial sector seems to be very resilient. Government financial situation is also very strong. The deficit is much more managed. There is some pressure on the external sector borrowing, but we have huge foreign exchange reserve. The number has actually now crossed 650 billion. When the report was published, it was not 650. But as I said to you, not all the data will be asked in the exam. You have to understand the story. In the coming video, I will come out with more stories, more trends that will help you in understanding RBI's functioning and also the economic outlook of India and the influence of the global economy. You have any question? Please ask in the comment. If you genuinely feel this video has added any value to your learning, please share this, like this. I wish you all the best for your preparation. Exam is here to make your preparation 50% faster. Thank you.